Hey guys, Indy with Ultimate Tool Reviews here. Well, in front of me here I've got two of the Makita 36 volt circular saws. And I actually bought these, I'd say probably a year and a half ago. At Home Depot, Makita sometimes does these deals where you can get a circ saw, two 5s, and a dual charger for $250, $100 off. And you also get additional two 5 amp hour batteries with it as well, too. So that's actually been a fantastic deal for circ saws. I've pretty much converted to mostly using Makita circ saws because it's such a good deal. And of course I can use the 5 amp batteries and all the other tools as well too. But for $250 for 4 5s and a dual charger has just been pretty crazy. So I bought two, and I bought one of each circ saw just because I wanted to see which one was better. I use these a ton, and they definitely get a ton of use out of them. But want to check out these two circ saws here. So this one over here, which I don't see as much as I see the rear handle, this is the top handle. It's the XSH06. And over here, I've got the XSR01. So top handle, rear handle saws here. They're both 7¼ inch blades. This one is blade right, this one is blade left. So they are different in that respect there. Now, one of the things that I don't really ever see talked about these two circ saws is the power. So I looked it up, and this is after I've used them for quite a while, but this one is definitely the more powerful circ saw. The top handle definitely cuts through stuff a bit smoother. It also sounds a bit higher pitched in the motor. So I looked it up on Makita's website, and this one is rated for 6,000 RPMs. This one is 5,100 RPMs. And this one also claims it can do more crosscuts than this one on the website. So of course there's no claims in the motor power. It's just entirely the speed and number of crosscuts between the saws. So of course, looking for the more powerful saw, if you've been through heavier material, denser wood, I definitely prefer the top handle. So depending on the type of job I'm going to pick one of those saws. Now the top handle is not a great saw for one-handed use. It's really heavy right about here in the saw, so it's pulling your hand forward pretty hard here. Now I like the rear handle, definitely for one-handed use a lot. So the weight's more up here, but it's definitely a lighter saw than the top handle. And I basically like to be able to just do a lot of the cuts where you kind of put a piece of wood down by your foot, you can cut it really quick, and you're good to go there. As for these saws with the batteries, I kind of prefer the batteries actually in the top handle, how they go in. There is no rafter hook on the top handle, and that kind of makes it easier to put the batteries in and out. You can slide the batteries in here really easily. But however, in the rear handle saw, you got to move the rafter hook every single time to put the batteries in. So it's kind of your preference if you want to use rafter hook more often than not, which saw you want to choose here. But I don't necessarily use the rafter hook very regularly at all, and kind of just gets in the way of taking the batteries in and out. And now a lot of people confuse the rear handle saw here from Makita as a worm drive saw. This is not a worm drive saw. Just because it's got the rear handle style, it's not a worm drive. Makita doesn't claim it's a worm drive. I think people are calling them a worm drive style saw, or rear handle is another word for them. But other than that, it still cuts really, really nice. Definitely more for 2x4, 2x6, kind of your usual 2x something cuts there. Cuts just fine, no big deal there. And you get plenty of battery life out of these saws too. You can pretty much go, I would say, hours on these saws on the job site without changing the batteries. And of course you can use the 5s, 4s. I even tested out, you can actually use any batteries mixed together. So I even used 2 amp hour batteries with a 5 just for fun, and it does work. It'll burn down the batteries at the same rate. So think of them as like fuel tanks, where you have a small fuel tank and a large fuel tank. It's going to drain both fuel tanks down, even though one's got more. So when one battery reaches 0, it stops the saw. So pretty cool by Makita there to do that. I will say with the rear handle, I like the battery indicator lights on this one better. It's right where you would see it, because you're holding with your right hand, you can just click it up here, and there you go. You can see the battery, no problem there. Whereas the top handle saw, it's kind of hidden by the handle, so if you're holding it here, you have to kind of take the saw and go like one of these to see the actual battery indicator level there. Other than that, they're both pretty bulky saws. I carry them in a pack out. I carry them, actually, you can get them both into a large pack out box, or just the wheels as well too. So they are quite bulky saws, but you know, they work fantastic. Other than that, blades, I'm not going to go into this video too much, but I like to run purely Diablo blades. I know some other reviewers have done a lot of reviews on blades, and I've tried out every type of blade. DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, pretty much every blade I've tried. Diablo seems to me that it works, just the most reliable, longest lasting blade I've used. And I do, depending on what I do, if I'm doing a demolition here and there, I'm going to hit some nails, and the Diablo blades hold up fantastic every time. They definitely seem to have the most resilient teeth to hitting nails, hitting metal. Never really had any issue with Diablo blades ever. And of course, you can find them on deals once in a while too. I've seen the 2 for $12 from Diablo at Home Depot. That's been absolutely fantastic. But other than that, for these saws, not much else to say about them when it comes to overall use. They've both been absolutely fantastic. Looking to get the XGT stuff coming up here pretty soon. I've seen just a handful of reviews in the XGT saws. But depending on if you like running the 1 battery with XGT or swapping over to the 36 volt, really kind of is your preference there. I don't mind using 36 volt. I was kind of against it at first. When I first saw it, I'm like, I don't want to run 2 batteries. It's going to be so heavy, so bulky. But once I started doing it, it's just awesome. It really makes a lot of sense too, having the 2 batteries. Yeah, it's going to be more bulkier. If you see these saws, they are definitely pretty bulky saws. But once you get them on the job site, you start using them, it's well worth it. Well, if you got any comments, guys, let me know. And let me know what you think about these saws. If you used either one, let me know in the comments. And have a great day, guys.